Welcome to Gun Owners of America's State of the Second podcast. I'm your host, Kailey.
And John, and this is where we talk about the gun culture, the gun industry, and how it impacts you. Today we have our friends from Battle Buddy 3 Gun. Frankie, Jack, how are you guys today?
Doing good.
Absolutely. I'm doing amazing.
Can you guys kind of break down what is Battle Buddy 3 Gun for people who don't know what it is?
So Battle Buddy 3 Gun is an organization where 501c3 nonprofit that takes veterans, civilians, really anybody that wants to get back into the shooting sports. We take them all across the country and do 3-gun competitions with them. So anybody living with an adaptive lifestyle is more than welcome to come out and shoot with us.
Now, adaptive lifestyle, for those who don't know what you mean encompassing that, what does that encompass?
So that's anybody living with any type of physical disability, whether it be a wheelchair, a prosthesis, anything like that maybe think that they can't get out there and do moving and shooting again. It's our way of getting them back into the shooting sports.
Yeah, we really are working hard to make some things that were nearly impossible for some people and make them possible. And we do that through the sport of 3-gun.
Yeah. And how do you guys go about that? What is a normal kind of event for you guys?
All right, awesome. So we typically do a 2-day format. We get a lot of return shooters for our guys in chairs or with some sort of injury. But we do the first day is more of a class. It's a breakdown. It's an introduction to the sport of 3-gun if you're not familiar. And then it's some basic fundamentals of what we need to do to be successful on day 2. And day 2 is the match where we put on a traditional 3-gun match. Everybody's welcome. It's open. It's on practice score. Any shooters can come down, but we're there with the guys with the adaptive lifestyles to help them shoot with it and make everything happen together. We do that with the use of our wheelchair that we've pretty much kind of designed in-house. Takes the tray on top of it is in before I get into this, because I'm going to talk a lot about it. It's a solution. It's not the only solution, but it's the solution that we came up with. So I took my belt. I use a Safari Lane ELS belt. I've used it for years in 3-gun. It's generally what I would say is generally the standard. And I took that pattern and we transferred it onto a tray that sits on a chair in between the shooter's legs. And we can attach anything to that tray: holsters, magazines, shotgun shells, anything. And now that makes that chair fully capable to go shoot a 3-gun match. We don't always deal with guys in chairs, but chairs seem to be the most challenging spot that we needed to fix, that we needed to fill that gap, and that's why we came up with the chair. Last match, we had a guy that was lost his vision. When the guys told me about that, when we were going down to Michigan, I was kind of impressed. I didn't know that how we were going to make it happen, but it was wild to see. I did it with a spotter. He shot more accurate than I did on a lot of stuff. I mean, I won't even make that stuff up, but it was pretty impressive. Frank, you got anything to add on that?
Just like I said, that really hits home with no matter what you're dealing with in life, you can still come out and have fun. You can still come out and hang out with guys, and that camaraderie is really where it's at. When we get those guys out there on the shooting range, it's all fun and everything. But afterwards, we come back to the house and we hang out and cook some burgers and just have a good time with everybody. So that's the real great part about it for me is getting to spend time with these guys, hear their stories, what they're going through on a daily basis, and being able for them to let that out and share that with somebody to get it off their chest too. That's a really great part of it as well.
Yeah, so you guys have formed a pretty impressive community around this, and I know you guys have shooters from all over. How many states are generally represented at one of your events?
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so we got guys that come over. There's a couple guys. So we just went to Michigan, and we were and I bring that up because that's the most recent event. We've been down to Florida a couple times, and we had a guy that drove from Florida to Michigan to shoot our match, which is crazy. We got guys that come over, come from all over. It's pretty impressive. The biggest thing is our organization is, if we can show it to more people, it's so easy to get behind, and these guys would love to do it. A lot of guys that may be in a wheelchair or have some sort of something going on, something that might be holding them back a little bit. Maybe they just don't know that we exist, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get out to show people that, hey, this is an option. And the goal with that is to show people that this is possible, and for you to go out maybe and do something on your own as well, because we just want to start that for them.
Yeah, I can't tell how many people that have come to our matches that have said, I never knew about you guys before until I seen you on, this site or on, this social media platform. And, I never knew anything like that existed before. And to get those people to see, what we're doing and everything. And that's kind of the goal, is to get the name out there and show, people what we're doing. So if you know anybody that, is struggling with that, they can come out and, shoot with us and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what is the feedback that you're getting from these guys? Like the first time that they go out, like tell us a little bit about the stories that you guys hear.
So like you said, we have people that come from all over the place. We had an event down in Florida early in the year, and we've had a couple guys that come down there. It was our first shooting event ever. And we had a guy come from Vermont, had a guy come from, Michigan, and they follow us. So we, before that we had a match down in Louisiana, and those guys drive, hundreds and thousands of miles to come to these events. And once they come to one event, there's probably a 90% chance we're going to see them in our future events too. So that they follow what we're doing, and it's a thing that they want to do every single time we have an event. And that also crosses over into other shooting sports as well. So we had a couple guys that attended our match in Michigan recently, and then now we find out like a week ago that they're shooting a different IDPA match or something like that. They never shot before they come to our event. So it's getting them back into the shooting sports again, the things that they loved to do before.
Yeah. So to answer the feedback that we get is amazing. So we got guys that are, they've just started, and then they're hooked, just like I was. I shot my first 3-gun match in 2008, and I've never looked back. And I'm, all the money in the world and all the time, and I wouldn't change it for a second. If you're not familiar with 3-gun, it'll put you in credit card debt real quick if you're not ready for it. But these guys are all about it. And whenever we go to a match or we set up any kind of range day or anything, and these guys come down, they tell the first question when the match is over is, "Hey, when's the next one?" Or, "Hey, I've been looking forward to this. This is awesome. When can we get up again?" And that's exactly what we're looking for. I'm all about feedback. So every time, we bring all the guys together at the end. And, I want to know what we can do to make it better, because I'm not perfect, and the way we run the organization is not perfect. But if we get better every single time we do an event or we do something, that's all we can ask for. And I think everybody understands that. But overwhelmingly, all the feedback we get is very, very positive. And we're not to the point yet, but we're getting to the point where we're going to, the only thing that limits us is the amount of people in chairs that we can facilitate. We have 5 chairs now. Generally, I think we can do 10 chairs or 10 guys that might need a chair. It gets a little tricky. It's kind of a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
But chairs are our only limiting factor at this point. We take other guys with different injuries, and if they don't need a chair, that's fine. But again, chairs was kind of the main focus at first. And to do 10 guys with 5 chairs gets a little tricky. We can do it, and we have done it. But we're as we get bigger, we're going to get more chairs. We're going to get this stuff.
Yeah. So for those people who aren't familiar with shooting competitions, can you just walk them through what you're talking about when you say 3-gun?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 3-gun match is, essentially it's an action shooting sport. 3-gun is consists of rifle, pistol, and shotgun. Generally, we set up 5 stages, so there'll be 5 different courses of fire. There's some rules. A stage brief kind of gets broken down. Generally, you shoot, all 3 guns in a stage, but it's not always the case. But it's an action shooting sport. It's the most exciting thing you can do in the shooting sports, I think. I always like to say that 3-gun is the apex shooting sport. And we've had conversations about that. 3-gun's awesome. If you can shoot 3-gun, you can shoot any kind of shooting sport. They all kind of fall underneath it. There's definitely guys that would not agree with me that it's the apex shooting sport, but I think it's definitely pretty impressive. But you can get anything from rifle targets to 500-600 meters to real small close bay stages, steel targets, clay targets, flying clay pigeons, all sorts of stuff. So the possibilities with 3-gun are endless.
So I got a chance to shoot your guys' style of match when we were at the Gundies.
Yeah.
For those who don't know how it would work, can you explain a little bit, because there is a battle buddy component to it.
Absolutely, yeah. So in the battle buddy stages that we have, all of our stages are open to all shooters. It's just the people living with those adaptive lifestyles in the chair that they get a team up with a battle buddy to push them through the stage itself. It's a big thing with communication. Making sure that chair is pointed the right direction. They can get that shot off in the right way they need to without breaking that 180 rule. So there's a lot of different, concepts of being able to talk with each other. Your pusher will push you through the stage. You know, it's a time stage. So when you get to the end of it, then he'll get to run the stage himself after that. Now, what you got to do at the Gundies was a little bit of a modified stage of what we have. Each one of our matches, we have a dedicated Battle Buddy stage. We've been calling it the Humbler lately because it really brings people down to see what these guys are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. You actually have to use your own power to push yourself from stage to stage on our signature stage. And like I said, these guys that are, these professional 3-gun shooters that are doing it, every day, their scores and times are around the same as these guys that have never shot before because they're shooting it from a chair from the first time. And that's a really great way to get people to see, what these guys are dealing with every day.
Yeah, just shooting from the chair.
Yeah, it's
completely
different. Yeah,
it's completely different. You're right. It is a humbling thing because, being able-bodied, you don't think of the things that other people go through, and to just experience, the saying is you walk by on somebody else's shoes.
Yeah.
I got to do that, and it really brought like an understanding and a realization of this is very important for this community, and this is a group of people who are underlooked and maybe not looked upon as, part of this group.
Yeah.
And
people also feel, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that they feel like they can't get out and shoot again. And that's a big thing that we're trying to combat is, you can come out no matter what it is, that there's nothing that we can't overcome when it comes to shooting a match. Like I said, we've had people with, completely no vision whatsoever come out and shoot the whole match and score well in it.
Completely safely as well, which was my number one concern when we did that. And the guy was on, Special Forces in the Army, and he knew what he was doing with firearms. But to watch him and his buddy who talked him on, there was some special equipment and some things like that, and for him to shoot amazing was nothing short of impressive. I get surprised every time we put on an event, and it'll always blow your mind. You got to see it, and it's always wild to see what things that we can make happen, and not us, but us together at a Battle Buddy event. Like that. That's really impressive. To start, I shot my first 3-gun match again 2008. So I had been shooting for a while. I was working with a guy that was making some T-shirts and really supporting me. In 2019, I went to go shoot 3-Gun Nation Nationals in Florida. Went down there. We kind of got up together. We became good friends. He was in a wheelchair. When we got back from that match, he had one question for me, and I'm in South Carolina. He was living in Missouri at the time. He's like, "Hey, do you think it's possible for me to shoot 3-gun?" And I had never thought about anything like that before. I had always shot. I just never crossed my mind. The only thing I remember telling him is, yes, absolutely, come down to South Carolina, we'll get it figured out. And that was in 2019, and we hit the ground running ever since. It's a big deal. I'd never crossed my mind, not because I don't have friends that are in wheelchairs, and a long time in the military, I certainly do. But it just, some people, maybe you just forget about it. You don't realize, like, hey, yeah, I've never been to a 3-gun match that I've seen people in wheelchairs at, but why can't we? And that's what we exist for. That's what we want to do. We want to show you that it's possible.
Yeah. I know that you guys focus mainly on the wheelchair, but I know you also have a good community with just in adaptive lifestyles. How did the pistol brace affect some of those guys?
So we don't have a lot of people that use the pistol brace, but we do have people that do use it. And now they're not bringing those with them to these matches and stuff like that. They're trying to do other things. We have some kids that actually come to our matches that use some braced firearms that's the only way that they can use that gun. They can't support a full 16-inch, firearm. So the only way for them to be able to shoot that match would be to use something with a shorter barrel with the pistol brace on it. So
Wow.
They have to have stuff like that. If they don't have it, they can't shoot the match without it. So
Yeah. It's so sad when you think about it from that perspective.
Yep.
What happened when that was taken away with no warning. And it's completely unconstitutional, and we're fighting that in the courts. But I was just curious on how that plays into the people that actually come out and are trying to get back into the sport, trying to live a normal lifestyle and have access to those things. So that's it's just really humbling to even think about.
Yeah, I mean when if you get rid of something like that, obviously you take a huge tool out of somebody's toolbox that, if somebody that may not be able to really shoot a full size rifle or support it with both arms, and now that tool is gone. You essentially just take it away. It's like, if all of a sudden we outlawed hammers tomorrow, hey, hammers no more, can't use them. What are guys in construction going to do? Sure, we got nail guns and things like that, but some old school guys, right? Like you can't do that. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You're just making it difficult when it doesn't need to be difficult.
This episode of State of the Second is brought to you by Tippmann Arms. Tippmann Arms and GOA have collaborated for a M422 Elite rifle. Check it out at tippmannarms.com. That's TIPPMANN arms.com. How many matches do you guys generally do in a year?
Yeah, so traditionally, we have really look at doing 2 or 3 a year. That was really good. We're trying to get out. I think for 2024, we're looking to do a one big match and support as many people as we can. We can facilitate more chaired shooters. We can do a longer event format. We can do a lot of things. That's a change that we're looking at doing because on top of our 2 or 3 matches a year that we have been doing, we also do a bunch of side stuff where we support guys that go to ADSS, and we want to support these guys as much as we can and realize that even at our max capacity, if we do 2 or 3 matches a year, these guys still want to get out, and we want to make that happen for them. So if we go to a 1 match a year, which would be a large format match, we can still do all the smaller stuff and more stuff and be able to provide more support for the guys that want to be involved in that.
Wow.
Yeah, we were talking a few weeks ago in an event. Frankie and I were. You brought up something. What you said that there are ranges that you've gone to that you can't do a match at because you can't get a chair going.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of the matches that we look at potentially having, we can't have because the facilities aren't ADA compliant, or there's certain ground problems with like the terrain and stuff like that that's not conducive for a wheelchair user to be on. So we have to be very picky when it comes to choosing a range and stuff like that. That it's available for everybody to be able to use it, because you don't want these guys to come out and have a bad experience. So and something like that, not being able to get into the bathroom or getting stuck on the range is not something that you want them to experience. So we have to be very picky when it comes to stuff like that.
And just so we know, getting stuck in a bathroom, that's the key.
That happens as well.
But only to Frankie.
That happens to me. Yes.
Moving on.
That's a story for another day.
The range stuff is it's tricky. So a lot of facilities are perfect for us, and we found a bunch of them that work really well. And some facilities just aren't. And it comes down to how hard packed the terrain is. And a facility could be great, and then all of a sudden we get 12 inches of rain the night prior, and it makes it a little tricky. These guys did it, and it's doable, and we're willing to make it happen. But just some facilities fit our needs a little bit better. And we don't need concrete, and we don't need this, and we don't need that. We can get out there on just some hard packed ground. We're doing just fine. But if there's large, rocks and things, and if it's a real big terrain, a wide open stage, if you're climbing down hills and stuff, might make it a little tricky. But I promise you, if me and a chaired guy go to a match, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, it's something that most people don't have to think about, right?
Exactly.
And so I think it's amazing that you guys are able to go and kind of see what facilities are meeting that criteria and show them to your guys as options.
Yeah, I mean, when I first met you guys, and that was 2-3 years ago. Now, the concept to me was foreign, but at the same time, I'm like, this is probably one of the coolest things in the shooting sports right now, is being able to bring these people in and get them the opportunity to shoot and enjoy themselves and bring them to, maybe they didn't think they could ever get back to this, and something that's enjoyable, which is what we preach. We want people to get into the shooting sports and enjoy it. That's a big deal to me. And I applaud you guys for doing that, and thank you guys for doing that.
We listen. We appreciate that, and I have the most fun that I ever have when I'm on the range. Doesn't make shooting 3-gun match. I got a range in my backyard. That's how much fun I have. When I bought my house in South Carolina, I really realistically I bought a shooting range, and it came with a house. I was lucky enough to have a house there, so it was awesome. but that's where I have the most fun. So if we can just get guys out to the range and shoot guns and hang out with friends and have a good time, that's what we're trying to do. You know, surely we utilize the sport of 3-gun because I was been obsessed and I think it's awesome. And all guys like a little bit of competition. Some girls too, right?
Mhm.
You can't
Yeah.
get away from it. But at the end of the day, we're looking to show you what's possible, show these guys what's possible, show other people what's possible, and to have a good time. And that's our number one goal.
Are there any other big obstacles in the way from, doing more for you guys?
So right now, the biggest obstacle we run into is a financial obstacle. We are 100% volunteer, funded. We do this all on our own. We don't, take a dollar from Battle Buddy. We put everything back into the organization to try to, further what we're doing. So that's the biggest thing. These matches that we go on to, they're, $5,000 to $7,000 per match from our pockets to put these matches on. So that's the biggest hurdle that we have right now is overcoming that.
And that, I again applaud you guys for, doing that. Just, the more I learn about you guys, the more I want to be more involved in helping as much as I can, because this is just such an awesome thing that I just.
It's a disruption in the space because, it's taking a marginalized community and it's empowering them not only to shoot in a competition, but just that normalcy of having other people that are able-bodied at the same competition as them and then get to see their perspective. And I think that the thing that really kind of sticks in my mind is the humbler, as you called it. That's a powerful position to put yourself in, to see something through the other person's eyes and realize, wow, like they're so much stronger than we give them credit for, or they're doing things that I don't think I could do. And I think that's a very powerful statement that you guys have done, and I applaud you for also having that opportunity for those who are able-bodied to compete from that position.
That when I built the first match, that kind of came out on a whim. Didn't really think of anything of it. 3-gun and shooting competitions are pretty good for having like, and I don't want to call a wheelchair a prop, but a stage prop, right? So maybe there's like a rocking horse there, and you're going to shoot from that, and but it just made sense to me, right? Like we got all these guys that this was. Make no mistake about it. When I build the match is if you're a seasoned 3-gun competitor, you're going to come to the match. You're not going to notice anything different. There's nothing different. It's a normal match. It's set up just like a normal match. There's nothing that you would be like, oh, this is geared towards this. It's not. It's a normal match. It's just guys in wheelchairs or with other kind of things going on are going to be shooting it as well. But came up with it, and I'm like, oh, we got a chair. Why not make everybody shoot from the wheelchair? And I had never shot from it prior to that. And I sat down in it and realized just how different it is. I'm like, okay, this is now got to be a staple in how we do things. The guy that shot with us the last match that didn't have any vision, he's like, hey, how about a blindfolded stage? And I told him, I assured him if he came back, I'd make it happen for him. And some range owners might think that's a little crazy, but I assure you, we do everything safe. And it's impressive, and all you have to see it is once. Every place that we've gone to, and every facility that's ever hosted us, same questions. Hey, can you guys come back? Can we do this again? And it's so easy to get behind. And for me to be in the position that I'm in as the president of Battle Buddy 3-gun, a real cool title, right? These guys, Frankie and Brian, all my other guys, they work hard, and they're not my guys. We all work together, but these guys do a lot of stuff. But it's so easy to get behind. All you got to do is hear about it. You're like, oh wow, that's awesome, actually, right? Like, oh, you're just taking guys that maybe can't do something that you love, that we all love, right? To go play with guns and shoot a competition, do something. And it's just like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. Let's get behind this. And it's so easy. And every time we go and we put on a match, I realize why I'm involved in it. We just get back. I'm so happy to be back home. I put everything back away in my garage. Everything's kind of all neat. And I'm excited for the next one because these guys make it awesome. And it's the hardest. I take vacation days. I take a weekend off to go do these matches or do whatever from my job that pays the bills. I work harder on that weekend, and Frankie and all the other guys can attest that I
Absolutely.
work them harder on that weekend than they ever do at work. And everybody's exhausted, but it's worth it. It's the best time that I ever have, and I'm happy to get home for about 10 minutes, and I'm ready to do the next one.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned three gun is expensive. If someone's listening to this and they know somebody who wants to get involved or they should get in, what's the threshold for them to get into this?
So the great thing about our organization is if you want to come shoot, you don't have to bring anything but yourself. We provide all the guns. We provide everything for you, the chair. We provide everything that if you to come out to the range, show up, and we'll get you shooting. Whereas you're talking about your own gear, that would be more Jack's. Jack's the three gun expert here for the organization. So
Yeah, so and obviously Frankie hit it. That was the main thing, right? Three gun is expensive, and I joked around about credit card debt. USAA would tell you that I'm not joking around.
yes.
But we wanted to have everything that we needed to put on, for these shooters to just show up, and we've done that. We've partnered with a lot of companies over the years, and we've got everything. You just need to show up. We want to show you what's possible, and then if you want to go out and get something that you think would work better, then by all means, But we have pretty much top of the line firearms that are ready to be shot, and they sit in a safe until we get these guys to come up and shoot them. So as far as the threshold, 0 if you want to be involved. And then again, you can go $50,000 in credit card debt like me if you want to. If you want to really have some crazy stuff. But we want you to be able to come out at no cost for any guns, any ammo, anything like that. We want to facilitate that for you, and then I can pretty much guarantee you're going to do it once, and we'll see you again. And then you're buying your own stuff, and you're practicing, and maybe you still want to use our stuff the next time. It's always going to be there. We have it. We maintain it. It's good. We zero it. Everything's all set. It's all going to function perfectly for you.
It's really great that you guys cover everything. Other than that, what is the big pusher for people not to come, or how do you get more people involved? Really.
I think it's really just spreading the word. And we are surprised when my number one question when somebody says, "Hey, I heard about Battle," I want to know where they heard about us from. I know that we're pushing it hard on social media and all over the place. We know that social media is hit and miss for gun stuff, right? So we won't get in the weeds in that. But regardless, it's just if we can get it out. And that's the number one thing we need because, like I said, I've said it a couple times already. It's so easy to get behind. So getting that stuff out there is the main thing.
Now, besides the gentleman who's blind, what do you guys have any other big success stories of people who've come and joined and seen that kind of jump?
So before I was part of the organization, I was actually invited out to take some pictures and do some stuff with the first range day that they had. I was down in South Carolina, and I'm there taking pictures, and the guys are out there shooting and doing their thing. And I'm standing there talking to a lady that's her husband's out there shooting with them, and he looks over at us, and he's smiling ear to ear, just the biggest smile you've ever seen in your life. And she breaks down and tells me that 6 months ago that he had put an expiration date for himself, and that he wasn't going to be here any longer with us until he heard about a Battle Buddy event. And he got excited about that Battle Buddy event and decided that he was going to postpone that expiration date for himself. And he was going to go to that Battle Buddy event. I've heard that multiple times, but that was the first time I heard it on that first time that I was there. And I knew from that moment on that what this organization was doing was the right thing, and that we could touch so many people's lives, with what we're doing, and getting them off that couch, getting them back out into the world of shooting sports again is just the goal of not only the organization but me personally as well. I want to see everybody I come in contact with, come out and have fun with us. So that really touched me when I heard that. So
Wow, that's a powerful story.
yeah.
I mean, we hear that story a lot, but to hear it or hear that they're down on themselves, they're ready to go, but hear that the shooting sports and Battle Buddy was able to pull them out of that darkness is amazing.
Yep.
And I was just wondering, how can we get more people like that to the range, get them involved? Or do you guys do any besides the event? Or have you guys looked at doing like a 2-gun event or a USPSA event or something, or even like just a day at the range for these guys or anything like that?
Yeah, so that's definitely ideas that we're more than welcome to open to. When we started, obviously 3-gun was mainly because I shot 3-gun, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that. What's cool about 3-gun is that it opens up the doors for any shooting sport because you already understand the general idea for everything. Again, we definitely are we work with ADSS as well, and Frankie can continue more about that. That's something that we really see a lot of value in.
Yeah, the Adaptive Defensive Shooting Summit. It's held in every September at the Sig Sauer Academy in Epping, New Hampshire. We went there last year. This will be our second year there. We're going up there with a bunch of great companies. Trevor Balcom is the one that puts it on. He's a great guy. He's all about the adaptive lifestyle, getting back into shooting sports again. So they do a 3 or 4 day, basically, you can do whatever you want, whether it's PRS, 3-gun, a lot of different things you can do, stop bleed classes and stuff like that. And then the end of it, it ends off with a pistol competition. And it's just everybody living with every type of, just disability or, advantage or anything like that they have. They bring it there, and it's a great opportunity for guys to, talk with other people that are living with the same things that they're living with, and find out that, oh, you put your holster here, okay, well, let me try that next time. So a lot of these guys have never been around anybody else that's shooting from a chair or shooting with any other type of abilities like that they have there. So it's a great way to these side things that we do to help get the community together again.
Well, this is the first time I've heard about this.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'd like to see how we can get the word out more. I mean, that is just such a big thing that the community needs to know, and we need to band together to make this more prevalent and bring more people in and know that there's a place where they can go enjoy the things they used to enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And obviously, I don't think I've said it yet, but I appreciate you guys having us on here and letting us just talk about this because, I love to talk about it. Frankie loves to talk about it. Obviously, you guys giving us a platform. We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I think it's something that our members are going to be excited to hear about. But I also think that they probably know somebody who would benefit from this message if they don't benefit from it themselves. I have the wonderful opportunity of talking with a lot of our members, and the stories of getting involved with the range and going shooting for the first time is something that everyone kind of looks back on with nostalgia. Like, you never forget your first gun. You never forget your first car. Like, there's something about it, right, that just kind of makes warm and fuzzy feelings inside. And I just kind of sit back there and wonder, like, what it must be like if you've lost that and then now something gives it back to you. Or if you thought that was out of the question and now you have that opportunity for the first time. I imagine it's probably even more impactful than you looking back on your own experience.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. Right? Obviously, I'm lucky enough to have never lost it, and I've been hooked ever since I started. But you're absolutely right. I can't imagine what that would be like to maybe lose hope. Like, hey, I can't do this anymore. Something that maybe I liked, I really enjoyed. Whether you were a top level competitive shooter or you just had a range in your backyard and you just wanted to, relax and shoot some 9mm bullets. It doesn't matter. Everybody has their own thing and what they're into. But again, just showing them that it's possible again is a huge deal.
And I think that's what brings people back as well. That they see that they can do it, and then they get hooked on it again. So
yeah, when I teach that, so I went over the general format. When I start day one, we always have guys that have returned or guys that have no competition and can shoot competition, but there's always one or two that have never really done any competition. They don't really understand. Maybe they're just an enthusiast and they just like to shoot a little bit, but they never had any formal training or anything like that. And what's funny is, and not all the time, but a lot of times those guys do really well in the match because they're listening to what's being taught. And I'm not the best shooter in the world. I've definitely picked up some tricks along the way, and I could probably make some improvements with you. But they pay attention, they understand the process, and then they apply it on at the match. And those are the guys that get hooked, and they have a great time, and they shoot well, and everything's great, and they're looking for the next match. Hey, where are you going to be next? And we could tell them, Vegas, and they'll be out there.
Yeah.
From Michigan, they'd be willing to make it happen.
So on average, how many people is your competition, your 3-gun, the very first competition?
Ooh. So and as far as guys living with some sort of injury, I'd say it's probably 50%. We get 50% guys, that they've never shot a competition and their buddy heard about it, or they got a friend that shot our Florida match and they want to come see it in Michigan, or these guys bring a friend, or they got this or that, because the word spreads fast. Because again, I get you down to a match and you're coming back to the next one. You're going to do everything you can, because it's the same feeling that I felt on my first match. I'm like, okay, now I got to figure out how to do this and how to do this more often and how to do this better. And all these years later, nothing's changed. I'm still the same. That's why, again, I bought a house with a range. That's why I have all these. I'm still just as addicted as I was in 2008, and these guys are the same way. So we just had a guy shot a match in Florida, and then he went and shot on his own. He went to a local IDPA match and shot it. And we could make that possible, right? We just want to show you that it's possible. And these are things that I talk about the guys, because I've focused on 3-gun doesn't mean you can't go shoot a pistol only match, or a rifle match or anything. I give you all the tools. 3-gun gives you all the tools to be successful in any competition. And he went and shot his own match, and that's the stuff that pumps me up. I know Frankie just gave a heartfelt story, and that stuff's awesome. That's what makes me excited, because I remember when I was doing this, when I started, these guys, I just wanted to show people what was possible, and I want you to hit the ground running, essentially, or wheeling or whatever it is. I just want to make it happen, and for these guys to go out and make it happen on their own. That makes me excited. And then they're still going to come back. They're still going to shoot with us, because it is what it is. But I want to show you that it's possible, and I want you to do like I did. Because when I first started 3-gun, there weren't all these gadgets and gizmos and everything. You made most of the stuff that you had. Like, you had to come up with a solution to load a shotgun. Nobody was doing it. Now you can buy a 3-gun ready shotgun. That's awesome. It's great. But people weren't. There weren't stuff made. You made it. It was you in your kitchen with a Dremel, me in Jacksonville, North Carolina with a Dremel, not knowing how to figure it out, but we did it. And that's where we're at right now. And that's why I was so pumped up about getting this stuff started here, because I already figured out that stuff once. Now it's just a little bit different of a challenge, and I'm going to figure it out again.
I really love that you were able to make that innovation, and I think that should be applauded. And I hope that we see more of that happen, that this is just the start. And that more people within the industry also come alongside and say, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Because I think one of the greatest things about the Second Amendment community is it's a community, and the industry is involved in that community heavily. I think a lot of people, especially, in politics and in the media, want to kind of create infighting where it's like an us versus them situation. And that's just not accurate. It's not abnormal to see someone from the industry at a shoot, not repping their brand, just being themselves. And as much as it is that they are repping their brand, like, people are genuinely passionate in the Second Amendment community. And so I'm hoping that your innovation just leads to more innovation.
Yeah, and absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm hoping for. I came up with the ideas, and there's somebody can make them better. Somebody's smarter than me for sure. I'm never the smartest guy in the room. There's no doubt about that. But somebody can make it better, and then when they make it better, I'll steal it back from them, and I'll try to make it better, and then we can play that game all day long. And I love it, and that's what it is all about. There's no ceiling to what's possible, and that's what's awesome about the community.
No, and that's, you found a problem, you came up with the solution, you innovated it, and now you want to see more people continue to innovate it and bring it in, and I'd love to see this as like, hey, every match there's a battle buddy part. There's
absolutely
every match in the country, and there's, for those of you listening, if you know a match director, tell them about this, talk about it, bring it up, because you guys can only do so much with the funds. But if if there was a chapter here and this there and that there and pushing it, but this could be a nationwide thing. And I want to see that, because your story, the guys that we met at when we went to the Guns Out TV again, talking to them, their story and how they got into it and how they, it brought them to, this feeling of accomplishment and things like that. I want to hear that story across the nation.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about. Getting everybody in there. So
we're and we've done it before, and we plan on doing it again. We got Steele that's on the board with us at Battle Buddy. He's a chaired guy. He's in a chair. He's got some things. We just take him and we go to a match and we shoot a 3-gun match. Me, Brian, Frankie. That's what we're into. We'll just roll. We're not calling a match director. We're not doing anything. We're just going to show up and we're going to shoot. The shooting community is so acceptive, right? Like you can show up to a match and don't have any guns, and it doesn't matter what match. Somebody's there is going to be like, oh hey, here, you can shoot my guns. You can have my gear. And it's the same way with anything. But the thing about it is people just don't think about it, and I didn't think about it. And I had built matches prior to, getting involved in this. And now I build matches all the time. You just don't think about it. So we just show up with a guy in a wheelchair and we just shoot a 3-gun match. And no, it's no problem. It works. There's some difficulties, when you're not anticipating that. But we could just make it happen, and everybody's down with it. But again, you just gotta go think about it and make it happen.
Yeah. Is Steele the one we met?
Yeah, so Steele was with us. Yeah.
So he's the logo. Is that?
He is the logo.
Yeah,
and if you see Steele, make sure you ask him for an autograph because he will absolutely love that.
Yeah, we'll get you a shirt and with the new logo, not this one, and he could sign it for you. He'd love to do that.
Definitely get
yeah,
sign
we'll,
it
we'll
for
do
you.
that.
Absolutely.
We'll do that, yeah. I mean, if you see him, definitely ask him. I got a couple in the garage hanging up with his signature on it.
So everybody out there, when you see Steele at a match, make sure you get his autograph.
Yeah, that's him on the shirt. The newest shirt that we got out right now, that's him, no doubt. He's the one that it was designed after. Definitely get him to sign it. Those things might be worth some money someday. Who knows?
Yep.
He'll love it too.
He'll love this,
absolutely. Yeah. That's exactly what he wants.
So, where can someone find a match schedule? How do they get in contact with you guys? Like, what is the process of someone listening to this and says, "Hey, I'm in such and such area. Are you going to be near me?" Like, what is their avenue?
So we have all of our social medias are at Battle Buddy 3Gun, the number 3, and we have our website battlebuddy3gun.org. We try to post all of our events, our upcoming stuff on there. We're always active on social media and stuff like that. So we have an email address. We have a couple different ways of contact, which we can put down in the description and stuff. So everybody wants to get in contact with us.
Absolutely.
And as far as matches go, it just gets posted on Practice Score just like anything else. I mean, that's whenever we have something coming up, definitely contact us through the website or social media is the best. We're very responsive on that. I know because I see the guys in the chat all night long. And it's always like, hey, we just got this. Frankie, you take this message. And it gets divvied out. Very responsive. Practice Score, all that stuff you can search for us. Everything's always labeled that way, and we try to be as easy to find as possible.
And then if somebody wants to support you guys, where do they go to the website to donate? Is there anything you guys need to? If there's somebody out there that wants to donate something, is there other stuff you guys are looking for?
So you can always go to our website. We have a link there that you can donate to us as well. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. So, if you're an organization or a company that would like to support what we're doing, we would love to bring you on as a sponsor. We always have, spots available for everybody. So, anything that you have product wise, monetary donations, anything like that. Well, we whenever we get stuff from companies and stuff, we always give it out as prizes at our events and stuff like that. So any type of help we greatly appreciate.
Yeah, nothing's too small for sure. Nothing's too big. And everything we get goes right back to these guys that come and shoot our matches. I mean, I love to hand stuff out to people. I remember when I first started shooting, or anytime, it doesn't matter who you are, you can get a patch or a pen or this or that or anything. I love to give this stuff out. These companies are generous enough to do anything for us, and that stuff goes right back to the shooters that come to our matches. It makes them pumped up. They get some cool gear, they get some stickers or some patches or whatever, and it's awesome. But everything we get goes right back to the shooters, whether we're facilitating travel for a shooter to get somewhere, because we do a lot of that stuff on the back end. Obviously the ammo that shooters shoot, we facilitate that. We try to do everything we can. The only thing that's holding us back from doing more is we don't have the items to do more. Because if we had $500,000 in the bank, then we would cover everything for every shooter with any kind of injury at any of our events. That's the only thing. We just gotta kind of pick and choose, but my number one goal and our number one goal with Battle Buddy is to do the absolute most for the shooters that we can. Anything. Typically, I run that through Brian. Brian's the money guy. And I'm always asking Brian, can we do this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, can we do that? And it's like a little bit more. And I'm always pushing it. Can we do a little bit more? And Brian sees the numbers. I never see the numbers. But I'm always pushing, hey, let's do this. And it's always a little bit more. And Brian is, there's no doubt about it. He's watching them things and he's a little stingy with it.
And it's not that he doesn't want us to do those things for people. It's just that he understands that the more that we save, the more that we can help the next person in the next match and the next thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And he sees the flow coming in. And we're all about trying to do the absolute most that we can for everything. And again, he sees the total picture more than I do. So,
yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's every nonprofit, right? We're funded by our members. We have sponsors for this podcast so that we can continue to use our members' money on lawsuits and lobbying and doing what GOA does as GOA. It's always an ebb and flow on what can a nonprofit do. So I get it. If we had unlimited funds,
it would be easy, right?
it would be so easy.
We do everything.
It would be
Yeah,
awesome.
but that's not how the world works.
No, if it was easy, it wouldn't be fun, anyways, right?
Yeah.
You got to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys sell your shirts on the website?
So we eventually will be selling them on the website. Yes.
So
Yeah,
I heard, for an extra $5, Steel will sign your shirt.
I think that could be an
that
option.
could be an
Yeah.
option.
I think
yeah.
we're going to set that up. I know the
Let's
guy who
write
runs
that
the
down.
website right here.
Yeah.
And I think we can do that.
Yeah, for an extra
think that's-
$5.
I think that's a great idea.
I think
that's
I love
awesome.
it.
that really is a good idea.
You
Yeah.
could sell autographed pictures of Steel.
We should. We probably got some
Yeah.
pictures. We
Oh,
can
this
probably
is
put them
gonna
on the
be
web.
amazing.
Frankie's going to get on that
Give me a
tonight.
week. Give me a week. This
Okay.
is going to be up.
Yeah.
A week, we'll have autograph pictures.
By
Yes.
the time this podcast is up,
100%.
Oh,
should
we'll
have it
have
all
it.
signed.
Everything
Awesome.
you need for Steel signed
Yep.
on the website. Frankie's got it.
That's awesome.
Well, I think. Do you guys have anything else you want to throw in, or
Frankie, you got anything else?
Not that I can think of.
No, listen,
Yeah.
obviously, we really appreciate you guys having us on. I don't know if this is going to make the thing anyways, but really appreciate you guys having us on. And, any support that we can get from anywhere is greatly appreciated. Obviously, our website, battlebuddy3gun.org, all of our social medias. It's the number 3, just like God intended with the 3-gun. So that's what we're looking for.
And on that note, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification. Make sure to go to gunowners.org, sign up to be a member, $25 for the year. That gets you everything you need and helps us support everything that we're trying to do. Again, thank you for listening and watching, and have a great rest of your day.